Hello, it's Kylie Coo. Welcome to my studio and welcome to creating a positivity deck. This is week 20 and the prompt for this week is light. So as always, I start by doing my journaling, and as I started to journal, I was reminded by the fact that on Saturday morning I thought about light almost immediately as I woke up, because the light was streaming in my bedroom window. It was sunny, it was bright, and I could just sense what the day was like. And that got me started thinking about light in different ways. And again, coincidentally, later on I had a look to see what the prompt was for this week and discovered it was light. And so when I started to journal, I just started to think about the different types of light: the sunlight, the moonlight, the starlight. And I was also reminded that the other night I had to go out into my garden very late at night, and by then it had clouded over. I couldn't see the stars or the moon. Yet in my garden I have these little solar lights, and they were like little beacons of light. There they were, they had captured the sunlight from during the day, and still my path had some light on it. And that then started to strike me that light is so connected with hope, from the hope that I discussed last week. And it just felt very positive. So once I'd done my journaling, I sat down as always to do my card. I just reflected on the positivity of the light, that even in darkness there is light. And also that people give off light. We all know people that we will turn to, that we can depend on, who just seem to shine as well. And all of that helped me feel very positive, and I wanted to put all of that into my card. So to start with, I took this piece of jelly printed paper. I just wanted to put this down as a card, as a kind of base on the card, just to work on top of. You'll have seen in other weeks, if you've watched other weeks, that sometimes I'll put gesso on the card, sometimes I'll just paint it, and other times I just like to collage. And this week I was just using this one big piece of paper to act as the base on the card. And all I'm going to do is use a glue stick to put that in place. So I'll just jump forward. So once that was in place, I just cut around the edges to take the overhang off. And all I'm going to do now is to take this titanium white, and I'm just going to use my finger. I just want to get a bit of paint down and knock all this blue into the background a bit. As always, just taking my time with this. I was in no hurry, although it does turn out to be a fairly quick card. But all the time I was still thinking about light in its different forms. And at this point I started to think about rainbows. I love rainbows. As a child I loved rainbows, and I still love rainbows. I get so excited when I see them. So again, that became something very positive. And of course, rainbows are just the light being reflected in certain ways. I'm saying reflected, I don't know if that's the actual scientific term for it, but I'm sure you know what I'm getting at. So I'm trying here to keep the paint quite thin so that it's almost drying immediately just as I put it down, and just spreading it out. Not looking for it to be even or anything, I just want to have that kind of coating down. So I then decided to pull out some colours, and what I did was to pull out really the colours of the rainbow. And I mainly pulled out my neon colours because they were bright. I just felt that I needed something bright. I didn't have every colour in neon, so I did substitute in a couple of ways. And all I'm doing here is to put them into the running order of the rainbow. Not that that mattered, but that's just the way that my mind was working today. So for red, I substituted the pink, I had the orange, the yellow, the green, the blue, the indigo and the violet. And then I decided that I wanted to use all of these colours on my card. And I knew it would be a riot of colour, but you know, today that's what I wanted. And I decided initially that I was just going to use my fingers. I didn't know how I was going to put these on, but then just suddenly I thought I'm just going to use my fingers and I'm just going to dab the colours on. And this is basically how I go through all the colours. Just wiping the excess off my finger there, because as far as possible I don't want the colours to mix. They will inevitably mix a little bit, but I was trying to avoid that happening. So I know from comments that some of you are just about to start doing this. You've been watching but maybe thought it was too much to take on. As I said in the very first video, you can start this at any time you want. And the thing about YouTube is, so long as there's a YouTube, these videos will hopefully be here. So, you know, whether you do one a week or one a month, just work at it at your own pace. For me, the prompts follow a pathway, a journey. But you know, you don't need to follow that same journey. You can follow the prompts in order if you want to, or just start wherever. If there's a prompt that particularly appeals to you, start with that. Jump about as you want to. And you know, you don't need to do a lot of thinking about this. It doesn't take long to do the kind of journaling bit, and in fact you don't need to do that if you don't want to. For me, this is just the process of thinking through certain things and getting to that stage where I have a card that becomes a positive card for me, so that if I look at this in future I will remember the positive points. So I just continue through the card with each of these colours. And given that it's more or less the same approach with the two last colours, I do use the end of my paintbrush. But given that I'm just doing the same thing, I'm going to cut forward again to where I've got all the colours on. So I now have all my 7 colours of the rainbow in place, and I want to dry that card before I then write my word. So I'm using this Sharpie pen and I'm just going to put my word on. So just giving it a shake to mix it up. With these pens that kind of flow, I always feel a little bit nervous this stage in case it floods, although as I said before, if these things happen, it happens, and you know, just set about correcting it. However, it didn't happen this time. And all I'm doing is to write the word light. And then I decide to dry that off because I don't want to smudge it. And then all I decide to do is a very light and sketchy border, again just using that same pen. I just always feel that that helps frame it. This card was so simple to make and so quick to make, and yet for me it conveys a lot. So I really like this card. And when I went back to my journal, I just noted something else. And that is, there is joy in chasing rainbows. For more inspiration for a positivity deck, come and join us in the Facebook group, link below. Lots of members are sharing their wonderful work. So as always at this point, I'd like to thank you for watching. Love and light to you. Bye for now.